Well, welcome back to the podcast. We were wondering what we were going to talk about this week because when we started out this podcast, I guess we thought it was going to be more homesteading topics.
Topical.
And it kind of turned into a little bit of social commentary, didn't it? That's okay.
I don't like. People will tell us if they don't want to listen to it, they just won't listen to it or unsubscribe.
I did struggle with the idea at first because when we did start out this podcast, the idea was a space for us to talk a little bit longer about some of those things.
Space for Regan to rant.
Ramble, waffle, all of those words.
It's very good at all of those
Man,
things.
how many times in the comment section you talk too much? It's like, okay, I need another channel.
That has defined our other channel. Are we talking too much?
I don't
Show,
listen too
don't
much to
tell.
that. Yeah.
But now I'm like, oh, I'll do whatever we want now.
So it did start out with that intention, and I guess I thought this would be like, homesteading topics, which there are plenty of. Somebody asked us, and it was right towards the end of last season, I guess, we were just wrapping up, and they wanted us to talk about Charlie Kirk and what happened there. And as soon as I saw that comment, I remember kind of going, what?
Why?
Why would we talk about, like, I obviously have an opinion.
Yes.
And I was kind of glad that we went on break because I didn't really know how to answer that. And it took me that break of however long we were off the air to just wrestle with why did that person want us to, and then since then.
It was actually quite a few people.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I guess I've realised that's what this has become. We touched on topics that we thought were homesteading adjacent, like AI. And then obviously, it was over on the other channel. I talked about the social media under 16 ban. And then I kind of realised, hang on a minute, these worlds kind of interleave to a point where you kind of can't help but talk about what's going on if it has an impact. And then I guess the other side of that too is like we're on the air, so to speak. We're saying something, and there's a group of people that are listening, and they want to know what we have to say about certain things.
So I guess that's the thing about new media. Not that I'm saying we're media at all, but that's why I would choose to listen to podcasts from people that I trust.
Yep.
Because I value their opinion and I trust their motivations and the motivations behind what they're doing far more than I would some kind of corporation or something like that. So I'm a huge advocate and consumer of, that's where my news comes from.
Yep.
So I guess, to approach something from our perspective, of course, when something happens, you want to go to your community and you want to go to the people who are speaking in your community to actually, go, okay, here's what I think, but, am I wrong? Am I right?
Yep.
What do I think? Can someone articulate how I'm feeling? So I guess when you start something like this, and that's been true of many of the initiatives that we've started. You start out thinking that something is going to be one thing, an initiative, this is what our podcast is going to be. And then it's in the doing of it that you go, it's becoming what it was probably always meant to be, but you have to start in order to get to that process, in order to get to the place where let's talk about the world around us from our perspective.
Yeah, and I know for me, I'll go, something will happen in the world and I will go to, you're right, I will go to my podcasts that I listen to, and then I will go to my homesteading channels that I follow, particularly when I know there's a few guys that just talk off the cuff regularly, that I value their perspective.
Yep.
They've got a view of the world, and I want to know what they say. Long before I want to know what the curated, paid-for news media has to say.
No.
I listening to Topher and Carl's yesterday on, the topic of what we're going to be talking about today, and I really appreciated what he was saying about not being bought and not being owned.
Yep.
But then on the flip side, they have to be careful that they don't fall prey to audience capture, because they don't have sponsor capture, in other words, sponsors are like, we'll pull our funding if you talk about that.
Yeah.
You can also be like, we're going to tune out, or you're not going to get the views if you talk about another thing. And it's actually made me really think about this podcast as well. I know we're approaching the metrics within YouTube that allow us to put ads. Well, we don't put the ads on here, but that will allow us to be monetized by YouTube.
That will allow us to get a cut of the ads. The ads are there regardless.
Yeah,
on this channel.
You can't actually turn them off, hey?
No. unless you get YouTube Premium.
Right. So the ads are there. It's just whether or not we get a cut. Interesting. Okay, because I was wondering about that. But then I did think, you know what? I have been toying with the idea of, because we've got some sponsors that allow us to just like talk about their stuff, and we've got an affiliate link and we do make a little bit of money, whether or not we would include those type of sponsorships on this channel. And I'm not sure.
Me either.
Because it might start out fairly kind of inert.
Innocent. Inert, yeah.
You know, having no bearing on it, but then it might turn into something. Yeah.
I don't know. Let's just see how it all plays out,
See how it all
shall
pans out.
we?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in this past week, I wanted to start with something lighter, being that we went to the city.
Well, that wasn't light. I got food poisoning.
And I just want to say how shit it is to go out for food these days.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that I wanted to talk about. And I know there's heavy, and maybe it's just a bit of levity, I'm not sure, but like how shit it is to go out for a meal these days. Number one, it's expensive.
Yeah.
Number two, I can make something better at home. Number three, the atmosphere isn't even that good anymore. Number four, the service is awful. We went to a favourite place on the GC that we've been going to with our friends for years.
Well, we were commenting, like, how good is it that this place still exists when we've seen the Gold Coast, like, churn and burn
the hospitality side of things.
Yeah.
And, like, we're foodies, so, like, when we go out for a meal, we don't just go to Macca's, like we never would. No. But, like, you go somewhere that delivers a good product, has a good vibe. Like, I'm very picky about where I choose to go out for a meal. And this place has always just been a no-brainer, easy staple. It was ordinary.
Yeah, just ordinary, hey?
Just ordinary.
Yep.
And I'm like, really?
Like,
that was it?
Worth paying for.
It cost us that much and that was it. But that's after you got food poisoning from Subway on the road.
Well, I wasn't going to mention the shop.
From Subway. And you know, this, I'm not sure, has this killed you for Subway forever?
This is my challenge, because I have always thought of Subway as kind of like the healthy choice. Although I had somebody come and say to me that the reason that they offer salt and pepper at the end is because otherwise they'd have to class them as a dessert. There's that much sugar in the bread. But I think that's one of those urban legends, like the McDonald's cheeseburger has a pickle on it so that it's not a dessert. I think that's how that goes. So it may not actually be that healthy for you, but I've always felt better. Like, I've never had that, KFC regret.
If you must eat on the road, at least Subway has the semblance of fresh ingredients.
I just knew. I watched that guy. I wanted the chicken teriyaki. I watched him. It was 2 PM because we were traveling late, and he went to grab from the bowl, like where they keep it warm, I guess. And he just kind of did a little. Will I change that out? No, I won't. And I saw his kind of hand movements and his brain ticking, and a part of me went, "Well, that was weird," and then thought nothing of it until 6 o'clock that night when I went, "Oh, I know what happened."
It was a rough visit to the city.
And it took me, and because I'm Dr. ChatGPT, here's all my symptoms. I'm basically dying. What should I?
It did sound like you were dying.
It was quite horrific, but it was great actually, because it was like, this is your incubation period, so these are the particular bacteria it's likely to be.
You can't pass it on.
Yeah, it's not what's the nasty one?
Salmonella.
Yeah, it's not salmonella. It's not Campylobacter, and so I went through all of these things, and
so
here's
you know
what
all
to expect.
this now.
Yeah. And that was reassuring, actually, to kind of go, okay, just ride it out.
Weather it.
Anyway, the point was, the next day, I'm like Googling my symptoms again, going, this is taking a while. Should this be? And it's just basically the response comes back, you're old,
Oh, really?
Yeah, but you know what it did get me thinking is like...
I basically had to leave you be as well. Like, I was working. I was knee deep in work. No, neck deep in work.
I wanted to contact that Subway, and I know you can't prove for food poisoning. I didn't care. I didn't want to hold them to account or anything, but I did want them to sort of say, hey, this happened. I'm pretty sure it was because of this. I saw this happen. I just want you to contemplate, if I was 80, not, nearer 50, like that could be pretty deathly.
Totally.
It felt pretty deathly.
Regan's one of those that gets the man flu, though.
You have no idea. There's no way for you to know what the man flu's like. Yeah, let's not go there.
So anyway,
eating out
all of that
for the
to
win?
say, well, like, you know, when you start to grow your own food, and I mean, we're not at our own meat yet, but we have done that before in the past, and you learn how to, like, you know, actually get some culinary skills. Eating out becomes just like, you either have to go for like the $500 a head, because we've had some pretty phenomenal experiences, one of which I'm pretty sure we're in for this weekend.
Yeah, fun.
Yes, because it's not only nearly Christmas, but it's someone's birthday week.
Yeah, and kudos to the person that explained to me about birthday trees. This is my new favourite thing. I now get a birthday tree every year, and I no longer rail against the whole Christmas celebration. Anyway.
He doesn't get a say in the birthday
tree. Do you
tree,
reckon it's changed? So I know we don't want to chat about this for too long, but I was thinking back to restaurants when you'd go out to restaurants with your mum and dad. Now, I know that's from a kid's perspective, but it definitely felt like this otherworldly experience. Number one, you dressed up.
Definitely dressed up.
You, you paid, but so do we now.
We never paid.
No, I mean, you paid for the experience. Like, you knew what you were in for. And the quality was, but it was something that you couldn't do at home.
Absolutely.
And I feel like two things have happened. Some of those experiences are a whole lot easier to have at home. Like, I think about smoking meat, for example. How many guys do we know that have, like, backyard smokers or, you know, whatever it might be? And then the Uberization of food is almost like there's a generation that kind of doesn't care. The reason you pay for food is not for the experience, but for the convenience.
Yeah, right. I just really, and like, we've got so many friends that are chefs as well.
Yep.
Some of our closest friends who we're going to go out with this weekend, we always say we could go out.
Yeah.
But unless it's going to be like this top-notch, like hatted restaurant.
Yeah.
And a dining experience that you get to actually interact with the chef, and like they're the kinds of things that we really enjoy, like actually interacting and getting to know, like the sommelier from Potager in the Northern Rivers. Like, if you're in the Northern Rivers, go to Potager. It's such a beautiful restaurant.
Yep.
Like, you actually get to interact and have an experience, not just with the food, but with the people that are creating the food and the experience. But yeah, we always say to our friends, like, we could go out and it would cost us $1,000. Or we can stay home, have
$1,000. I suppose it could, couldn't it?
for 4 people.
And a few bottles of wine. Yeah, righto.
That's actually not even a.
Yeah.
That's
not too crazy.
Our 20th wedding anniversary was.
Yeah. That place was phenomenal,
We
though.
save for that, though.
Yeah.
We don't go on many holidays, but we do enjoy those experiences very infrequently, like once a year.
I guess that's why you're probably a little bit miffed about the weekend, is because those food and eating experiences have been those things that have been reserved in our mind. Like, it's like you save for it, to then go out to a place which was kind of trusted and known to us and had amazing food, to just have this like average experience but still pay the same. And actually, not just still pay the same, pay more, because like your dollars don't go as far these days. No. So when you decide to put them on eating out, you're deciding to not put them on something else. And
especially because, like, moving out here, we don't get those experiences as often as we used to. So when I'm going out for dinner, I'm not cooking, I'm not cleaning up, I'm not planning, I'm not, any of the things. Yeah, I just feel like eating out these days is shit.
You may
Sorry
be right.
if you have a subpar restaurant. I mean, we worked in hospitality
I'm not sorry. If you have a subpar restaurant, you should probably know.
Like, think about it.
I am sorry if you are trying to do your best in the restaurant industry and the rest of them are bringing the vibe down.
Absolutely.
All right, before we kind of get into the meat and potatoes, under 16 ban kind of happened the day of our last episode coming out, or maybe it was a couple of days after.
It was the 10th.
Whatever that was, yeah.
We don't record on the same day every week, so it's hard.
That's true.
We didn't wake up and all need digital ID. And here's something that I want to say. It's all the fear-mongering that actually takes things out of context, right? Like, a lot of people were like, well, see you later, Facebook. I'm out. Like, you won't see me tomorrow. And it's like, that's not how this is going to happen.
I know.
That's not how it's going to happen. And I didn't wake up and none, and I work on social media platforms, none of them. And when I say I work on them, I work on all of them.
Yep.
None of them asked me for my ID. None of them. Maybe that's because I have wrinkles. Maybe that's because I frequently get sent perimenopause reels by my friends. The AI is great. I don't know.
It knows who you
But
are.
even our kids didn't.
I think the social media companies are approaching this very gingerly because it's their business.
Totally.
If they flick a whole bunch of people off their platforms and if they get it wrong, those are dollars on their bottom line.
Yeah,
so
totally.
I think they're not going to apply these big broad strokes. So yes, they talked about using AI tools to work out and determine a person's age. If you share this meme versus if you share this meme, then you're probably this age. If you share Chuck Norris memes, you're probably okay. If you're sharing 6'7", then you're banned. So, but I still think they're not going to go, oh, well, that must mean that you're 15 3/4. They're not going to get so prescriptive about it because it could hurt their bottom line. And while the government are being a bit relaxed and giving them a lot of leeway with it, I think they will take that leeway while they can.
Yeah.
It's going to be after a year when no meaningful change has happened, or like that girl that was being interviewed by Albo, and she's like, I don't think it's going to work. We'll still find ways to get around it. And he's like, well, we'll ban those too.
And then the headline is teenagers support the social media ban. It's like, no, they didn't.
They did not. So I think that's going to happen. It's going to be a year before they kind of put any, reports out to show what happens. And her contract's up anyway, right? And she's not looking to renew her contract. So it's literally like, hand grenades, see you later.
Light the dumpster on fire and then get out.
Yeah.
Grub.
Yep. Unelected official.
Why this matters to us is because we put all of our content on YouTube.
Yep.
We're dabbling in the other social media platforms as well. I have a love-hate relationship with social media. It's not very social. Just, for us, it's a tool. I think it's a tool for business now more than it is social, right?
Yeah.
So for us, it's a tool to get our message out about go watch our YouTube videos.
Yep.
That's why. But to create long content, to create podcasts, to create reels and stuff, it's very time consuming. It's not just, I'm going to walk and my face is going to, you can do that, but.
Oh, but look, people make a living on it. And
absolutely.
And it has probably been my primary source of media, entertainment.
Sure.
For a decade or more now.
Yeah. You said media/entertainment.
Yeah. That's exactly how I categorize it.
They are not the same things.
Oh, right. Okay.
No, but this is why it's important.
No, entertainment media. It is a media.
Oh, sure.
But I mean, it's my form. So I primarily watch YouTube. And I primarily watch it for entertainment or edutainment,
Yeah, sure.
Just toying between those two ideas.
But I think there's something in the media side of it that I'm watch this space.
Do you mean news media?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. Yeah, okay. Do you think that this is a retaliation against what's happening because traditional news media is dying like a slow death?
Oh, will it die already? It's death throes.
It's easy for them to want to get behind this because it's like, oh, this will work. With any luck, we'll get rid of Joe Rogan. Yeah.
You're not getting rid of Joe Rogan.
My biggest criticism of this is the platforms that they have chosen. I would rather they have taken this whole thing, spent all of this time, money and resources, people power, whatever. Yeah, have a department that is devoted to protecting kids online. Can't agree more with that. Sure. There is some horrible shit online and kids 100%. Shouldn't be exposed to it. This is not going to work because kids being kids will know how to get around it. And I would rather they have devoted those resources to empowering parents, putting out decent educational resources, like not having schools teach things that schools have got no business actually teaching that belong in the home, but actually teach them how to, be equipped so that when they see, because a lot of this stuff's going on in schools. I'm not opposed to the idea of no cell phones in classrooms for certain ages. I am not opposed to that
at all.
But also, but just let's not be Luddites here because there was a a generation who said no calculators either, and you wouldn't do that to kids these days.
No, but no phones at school, 100%. 100%.
Just think that one through.
100%.
No, I know why you're saying it. I know you're saying it because of the negative impacts of phones, right? But when you have a technology that is as fully integrated into society as the smartphone has become, it's no longer the phone's fault, right?
Sure.
And just going, well, cut that off, that will solve the problem. It actually won't. You know, it comes down to education. You know, how do we educate our parents? How do we educate our kids to empower them to learn the ins and outs of this? And I saw a really good post online, and I guess he must have been a father. It sounded like a father, and he put this on X, and he said, it was on the day, December 10th, and he's like, parents, today's the day. You need to teach your kids how to circumvent these horrible social media bans, because if you don't, they are going to do it without you.
Yes.
There is a 99.9% chance that they will find out how
100%.
to do this, and they will do it even if you ask them not to, because they're kids, because of social pressure, because it's a major part of their lives. And so you are going to end up even more fractured from your own children. Rather teach them how to do it now and stay on board with them.
Keep the conversation alive.
And keep it alive and healthy in your own house. And YouTube came out with a public statement saying, this is why we disagree with the ban. Number one,
this made me
we
so
are not
angry.
a social media company.
Yes,
by
they're
the
not.
definition of it. You can't have interactive, ongoing conversations
And do you know
in a
how I
meaningful
know
way
that?
like you can on these other platforms.
Do you know how I know that? It's actually really hard for us as creators to keep a conversation going in the comment section.
We don't even have like members. Do you know what I mean? Like subscribers, we do have, but a subscriber can be subscribed to our channel and comment on our channel. And it takes me months to figure out who the regulars are.
Totally.
Because I got no tools to actually go, oh, who's this person and what have they said before and what other conversations are they a part of?
We have to go off platform to create that kind of community.
And so I know that YouTube is not a social media platform like that. And YouTube came out and said, what this social media ban has done is it has completely removed the ability for parents to use the tools that we have already put in place to protect children. Now, are they doing a 100% job? Impossible. No, of course they're not.
Nobody can.
Because they can't. But they have put in screen time rules that you can manage with your kids, reports on what your kids, flags, stuff that gets sent to the parents.
You can actually have access to look at what they're looking at.
And as a parent, you were able to approve or not approve certain, content. None of that is available to those kids anymore. They have wiped the slate clean and said they're not allowed to work. But it's worse than that, because the government acknowledged that they would be able to watch YouTube unlogged in on a smart TV, for example. So now not only do they have access to all the content, but the parents don't have the tools anymore. Were the government going to come in with those?
Congratulations, Australian government.
Yeah, you spent your money on all the wrong friggin' things again.
So they've categorically missed the point. The fact that Roblox is not included, and so everyone's going to be on holidays over the next couple of weeks, and so we're having a conversation with our kids about maybe doing a pod together, because I really think that their input's going to be interesting on this because of how we approach social media in the wild, because it was developing as our kids were.
Roughly, yep. I mean to say, Facebook was kind of out years before we introduced our kids to it, but it was about the same time frame.
It was escalating, that's for sure. I really, they all said Roblox is a cesspool. Yeah. It's where you get groomed. It's where you get, there's predators everywhere. And if we hadn't taught them how to pick up on that, they would never have known. How can Roblox not be banned?
Yeah.
If this is the true intention of what they're wanting to do, how is YouTube gone but Roblox stands? That doesn't make any sense to me, which takes me back to, where do people get a lot of their news from? Yeah. X, YouTube, Facebook, if you're
over a certain age.
If you're my mum. Hi, Mum.
It either isn't what they say it is and there's something else going on, or they're completely incompetent.
Which
more
is
than
also the
likely,
case.
it's a little column A and a little
Both
column
things
B.
can be true at the same time.
Yeah.
So we're watching it closely because for us, it's our business.
Yep.
And it's a business that's relatively new that we're kind of going, do we change now? Where do we change to?
People often say, oh, why don't you guys just put your stuff on Rumble or, these other platforms? And it's, again, for the same reason that we don't want to manage multiple social media accounts across multiple, because it's a whole lot of hard work.
It really is.
All right. So we will keep up to date.
We will keep up to date on that one.
And as to its implications on digital ID, because I still think that's where all this is going. Most Australians, I think that's where this is going.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't add up. Because as soon as you go, you banned that but not that, what else is going on?
Why?
Yeah.
We're not stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not stupid, but we're also tacitly complicit.
I think we're just busy.
Overwhelmed.
Yeah,
under the pump financially.
Things cost so much more. It's Christmas time.
Very easy to push your population
That's quite
into
stressful.
Yeah.
Things happen. That just creates a whole other realm of fear and anxiety. Like, yeah, it's probably easy to flag things through when people are distracted.
Well, let's
and
talk
overwhelmed.
about Bondi.
Okay. I didn't know whether we humped and hard, and so this pod comes out on Thursday and it's Wednesday.
Today
so we
is
really left it to go, do we want to talk about this or don't we? But I feel like we have a unique perspective about the firearms side of things.
Yeah, that's been not unexpected, but that has been, I think what has surprised me the most is how quickly the narrative shifted to that.
Yes. I just want to say, like, I was literally scrolling on X as it started, as people started.
Yeah.
So I was like, we were watching things happen 15 minutes before any news was like, ABC was just rolling on. Our federally funded broadcasting channel was just rolling along with their scheduled programming rather than going to breaking news.
And it's so hard, isn't it? Because I felt like this actually showed the upside and the downside to live, like personal media, if you want to call it that, like the ability for people to share live and as it's happening what's going on, because everybody's got a phone and everyone can post. And then once a thing becomes kind of shareable, that's how news is told. And it feels very kind of, in a sense, a little bit old school. The point of view of like news media was supposed to be, they were supposed to be these guardians of factuality and honor in storytelling. And so it does make sense to me that there would be a delay that's required in order to get the story right, to not post the wrong thing. That is the current challenge, isn't it? When the video footage is coming at you, whose responsibility is it to disseminate it and get the facts right? And look, it all evens out in the wash. But I don't know, like I saw some things that I was like, oh, look, this guy isn't even, or that's going on over there. And it's like, oh, hang on a minute. No, that turns out not to be true. Yeah. So.
Not in the moment. I just want to say, like, I'm shooketh.
Yeah, everyone
I was just like, holy shit, Regan, look at what's happening. And we couldn't stop trying to find information because we were trying to make sense of it, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people were like, don't share it, like it's inappropriate. You got to be able to try and make sense of these things. I don't think that you should share gore for gore's sake. But I also, like, don't feel like, because we wrestled, like, is talking about it in this context disrespectful to all of the people's lives that have been impacted by this? We always want to be respectful about there's real people.
Yeah.
It's not just clickbait. It's not just like, like let's get the views by talking about something controversial.
Oh, there's
like
some
I've
obvious...
really we've worked with people for a long time.
Yes.
That matters deeply to us.
Yeah. There's some harm that you can cause when you do that.
Yes.
And it is gross when you look on YouTube hours after the event and you can tell the people that have just got like Bondi in the thumbnail without any actual story or facts or meaning behind it, because it's just like, well, this will get views.
Yeah.
That's kind of gross.
I don't particularly want to go into a lot of things about it.
Yep.
I want us to stay in our lane about this.
Can you say why you don't want to go into some things?
Because I don't know enough yet.
That's a good point.
I'm making assumptions that I'm not sure is responsible for me to communicate to a wider audience. Have you, one of my favourite TV shows is The Newsroom.
Yep.
And it's got Jeff Daniels in it, and he's this kind of he's a news anchor, really popular. He blows his life up.
Yep.
And he keeps saying, I'm on a mission to civilize. And that's his idea. He's this journalist who wants to bring back the integrity of journalism. And it's my favorite show ever. And I have that in my head all the time. We're on a mission to civilize. Just because you can capitalize on something doesn't mean you should.
No, I
definitely don't want that to be what we're doing here. And I don't think we would have talked about it if the if the conversation hadn't shifted to guns so quickly, and gun control so quickly.
Yeah.
But because it did, I feel like we have a unique perspective, particularly for people who don't live in a rural lifestyle, who haven't been through a weapons licensing process, to give some context and maybe help to understand why certain things might have been the way that they are. Don't condone what happened at all. It's absolutely disgusting. And I have my own thoughts about the people who did this. But I want to talk about how quickly it's changed to be about bringing in tighter gun laws, what that means, what we think about that. Maybe you can, because it was you that really went through the process of getting your weapons license.
Yeah.
Maybe talk to us about the process that goes through. Maybe we can talk about some of the areas that we do think that there needs to be more tighter gun laws, some of the ways that we're please explain based on the experiences that we've had.
Yep. Look, happy to send the conversation in that direction, and I definitely hear what you're saying about staying in our lane.
Yeah.
I do want to say, though, and this is where I love Topher, because one of the things that he and Carl's are saying right now at the moment is, why aren't we allowed to talk about this stuff? And so, maybe we won't go there so much in this conversation, but that has highlighted to me the fact that there are topics that are starting to become, and this is what I mean by tacitly complicit, taboo. I'm
not allowed to talk about
that anymore. And there's been this kind of creep of topics that you're not allowed to talk about, or topics that you're not allowed to talk about if you aren't XYZ. So I'm a straight white male.
You're not allowed to talk about anything.
I'm excluded from most friggin' conversations. When in the hell did that happen?
Yeah.
That bothers me a little bit. And so, I do have some opinions about immigration. I do have some opinions about certain ideologies that feel very incompatible with an Australian culture. We don't have to go there in that conversation, but I guess I just do want to say it's not off limit in the comment sections, if that's what you feel. But I also want to acknowledge that I think the reason that people asked us to talk about Charlie Kirk when it happened, and we didn't get the opportunity to because we went off the air, but I think the reason that people asked us to is not because we were able to find this immediate, the gun thing makes sense, right? We're property owners, we're in agriculture, that we've got something to say about that, so we will. People also wanted to know what we had to say about it because we live this counter-narrative lifestyle where the decisions that we make and the lifestyle that we've chosen to live rails against the story that the everyday media will tell you. You're supposed to do this, you're supposed to grow up, you're supposed to buy a house, you're supposed to live like this, you're supposed to both have jobs, you're supposed
go to university, get into debt.
All of these things. And so the homesteading lifestyle, I don't like to say countercultural because I think it is part of our culture. In fact, I think if you go right back to our culture, and I've had this argument many times with you guys in the comment section, homesteading is the original Australian world, not smallholding, not hobby farm. The original word here in this country was homesteader.
Yeah.
And it is part of our culture. It's not the only part of our culture, but it is. So I don't like to say countercultural. I do like to say counter-narrative because there's a narrative that's being told that says you're excluded if you fit into this category of people. You're not allowed to talk about it. And if you do talk about these things or you've got an opposing point of view, well, you're a this or you're a that. And so you must hate.
And you
must hate
resort to
people.
name calling. You resort to profiling.
Yeah.
You shut the conversation down.
Yeah.
So we're not learning from each other.
Yeah.
Which is why we continue to say in the comment section, if you disagree with us, no problem. Just be respectful about it. We will always rise to the occasion of respectful discourse.
Yep.
Because that is what makes us better. That is what makes us more thoughtful.
Absolutely.
It makes us more intelligent.
Yep.
It makes us more accepting of other ways of thinking, particularly when you live off grid and you don't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very important thing to keep your intellect and your mind, your compassion sharp and not just become totally self-absorbed and ignorant. That is not what we want. If you disagree with us in the comment section, don't call us names. We'll kick you. Don't be gross.
You just undermine your own argument.
100%.
Like, the minute you do that, you're now no longer worth listening to.
Sorry, this is not the rest of the cesspool of the internet.
This isn't Roblox.
This is a place where we genuinely want to be better people and understand each other better. If you've got a point of view, tell me, and I can choose whether or not I agree with you or not. Doesn't mean I don't like you. Doesn't mean I won't listen to you, but I'm allowed to disagree with you.
Yeah, last week somebody called me out. I, mentioned some stats and on a certain topic, and they were like, "Where'd you get that information? It doesn't line up with what I think. Stats can be used to manipulate." I really took the time to take that idea on board, and that I appreciated that person challenging me to go, oh yeah, because as much as I had included some reference documentation and some stats and things like that, it made me kind of go, oh yeah, but fair point.
Right, now that the dogs have been put away, guaranteed every single time we sit down to do this, one of the dogs wants to be wherever we are, walks past the tripod, starts wagging their tail, and the camera's going like this. Acknowledge the cut.
I think I was making the point that statistics can be used to manipulate.
Yes.
That got pointed out to me. I think it's a very good point.
Yep.
And I think in the coming days and weeks of this particular discussion, statistics are going to be used a lot.
Yes.
And especially because, like, our best source of statistics on this topic are going to be American statistics, because that's where the argument's probably going to go. So,
all of that to say,
what did you want to talk about?
I just hope that we've framed it right.
Anyway. Oh, look, we'll get taken out of context for sure, but we'll do our best.
Stop being so afraid and just say what you mean. It's not about the guns.
Of course it's not. Look, here's what's going to happen. This was so predictable.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Albo has stuffed up. Now, I don't care what you think about immigration. I'm an immigrant, right? So I get to say a little bit about this.
So is my mother.
I get to say something about this. I think there is a right way to do immigration and a wrong way to do immigration. And he has gone way off track on this.
Him and his mates.
And his mates. But let's, when you're the boss, buck stops with you. When you make the kinds of decisions that he has been making, don't be surprised when you get the kinds of outcomes that we're getting. Machete bins don't solve problems that are caused by an immigration policy. There we go. Said it.
Or by or by economic policy.
Yeah.
Or by locking a state down for 2 years. Or there's so many, it's actually not one thing.
Yep.
I don't want to just go, oh, it's immigration, or oh, it's
no, but
guns,
this is the point that I was going to make.
This, or oh, it's that.
He knows he's going to get challenged on immigration now because the son was born here.
Yes.
The father was an immigrant from India, I believe. So, pretty sure. I think originally they were saying Pakistan, but I think now they're saying India. Anyway, father was an immigrant. They had ISIS flags in their car. They had ideologies that are born overseas. Right?
Let's not just believe that because the media says so.
Oh, yeah, good point. Did they? You've got to start somewhere.
You can't be spoon-fed anymore.
I'm not going to be talking about that. What I am going to be saying is, what I wanted to say was, Albo knows he has to pivot because he will be, rightly so, called out on his woeful immigration policies. And so he needs to find a bigger, badder baddie to pin this on. Well, guns is the easy one.
It is.
Because it splits the nation. And actually, it it does more than this now, because you've got an entire generation, and I think this is what you were wanting to talk about, since Port Arthur, who have now had a very limited relationship with firearms because they're just not as ubiquitous as they were pre-1996.
Well, 1996, I remember when it happened. Okay, so you and I have both grown up around firearms, right? We've both been trained in the proper use and storage, like we're licensed.
Yeah.
We've done all of the safety courses. Your dad ran a security business for however many years, and he was a police officer before that. So, like, you've always grown up around weapons.
Yep.
And been taught to respect them, right? I was always taught, it was drummed into my head, this is not a toy.
Yeah.
This is something to respect. It's not something to be afraid of. It's something that is a tool, and that it is important that you understand it as an item, right?
Yep.
We don't have that anymore. Our kids don't have that anymore.
Well, our kids do. But
well, there's a whole generation or couple of generation of people who have no concept of the fact that guns are necessary in context.
Yeah.
Guns are necessary in context.
Well, I think there's a whole generation that thinks they're unnecessary.
That's, I fear, where a lot of, because the media were the ones that started pushing. Are you going to bring in stricter gun laws? Are you going to bring in, you listen to all of the press conferences, and I listened to some of them from the start all the way to the finish. Are you going to bring in stricter gun laws? Why are they the ones asking that?
Yeah.
Are they representing the population?
Yeah. Well, because a story that divides sells.
So here's the
sells
pressure.
A lot of newspapers.
Here's the pressure now to actually do what the media are asking, thinking that it's the Australian population that are asking for it. And they very well may be, because you look at something awful like this happening and you go, if we had better gun laws, that would never have happened.
Yeah, but then on the other side, there's a whole other argument that says if we had armed citizens, this would never have happened.
Absolutely.
Now, I don't know exactly what I think about that, and I tried to do a little bit of research about that, because it's a reasonable counter-argument. Yeah. And if we had information that made that true, that proved that true, it would be well worth considering. So I looked into this. The FBI did some studies between 2020 and 2022 on incidents involving firearms. I think I'll link to it down below. But they basically showed that where there were crimes that were committed or been trying to be committed by armed criminals, in 10 to 15% of cases, their efforts were thwarted because it was happening in a state where it was licensed to carry, concealed carry, open carry, whatever it might be, and a citizen stepped in and actually physically did something about it before police could get there. So this was the thing. So that's like 1 in 8, right?
But that happened without a license to carry. That guy.
Yeah, Ahmed Al-Ahmed tackled that guy.
What a legend.
And stole his shotgun off him.
Completely vulnerable.
Yeah, kudos to that. I watched him do that and it was like,
I can't believe that happened.
Dude, you are so lucky. But I guess you would if I don't know what his relationship was to the crowd that were there, but if your friends are there and your family are there and what's racing through you, you're going to have fight or flight, right?
Totally.
If you're in fight, you're like, my friends are going to get hurt. My family's going to get hurt.
Case to be made for testosterone in those moments.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm a woman and I'm all about women's rights, but what I want then is for you to be lying on top of me protecting me.
I guess the question comes up, a way to think about that is what we wanted in that scenario were armed police neutralising the threat. Is it that far of a stretch to go, it wouldn't be so bad if what we also had were responsible armed citizens who could do something about it? I don't know. Like I say, tried to do some research on whether or not that this is actually effective, and there are arguments both for and against.
You've seen the memes come out, like that guy, Ahmed Al-Ahmed, is going to get charged with weapons possession now. But that is the world that we live in. We've become such a nanny state that you have to be worried about the feelings of the perpetrator.
Yeah.
when you actually stand up and take responsibility enough to go, no, that's not right. Hold up. Like, that's the sort of thing you got to worry about. I wonder what went through his head when he was like, do I shoot this guy or don't I?
Yeah.
Like, what an impossible place, like, to
totally
be put
impossible. You can't put anything else on that guy and go, I would have, or he should
can't.
have, or whatever. You can't. It was a totally impossible
What
scenario.
I hate in these contexts is I hate, but what about this?
Whataboutism.
Whataboutism. And Noah and Regan do this all the time. They have these hypothetical conversations. Drives me crazy because I'm like, but it's not real. But it's not real.
Yeah,
like,
but you have to probe the argument. You've got to see where its weaknesses are.
But I hate hypotheticals because you got to keep bringing things back to what is actually true.
And unfortunately, that's what will happen in this conversation. It will be all hypothetical. And even those who will look to America now to go, see, we should, or those who look to it and go, see, we shouldn't, it will all be hypothetical because they're a completely different culture. They've got a completely different history. They've got a completely different relationship with firearms.
Weapons, yes.
I don't think we can reasonably look to them as a case study for what would happen here if we made any changes in either direction. I don't think it's helpful.
When we first had kids, I remember saying our children won't have guns as toys. There was a lot of pushback from your family about that.
Yeah.
And I was young and naive and idealistic.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise probably until Sunday, no, we've been talking about this for a little bit longer, what disarming the majority of the population and the majority of a generation has done to our society. Because we just roll over and take it now.
Yeah.
Lock me up harder.
Yeah.
Police me harder. Rule me harder.
Yeah.
The government will save me. And it really is now, like I guess we're going there, that I'm like, wake up. This has all happened for a reason. And now they're going to want to do it more?
This is my challenge with this line of thinking. I'm actually not opposed to gun laws in principle.
I would like you to get into that.
I'm not opposed to the laws we do have being more stringently applied.
Yeah.
I think there is also room to layer in some more meaningful laws. How this guy had a license when he wasn't a citizen. I assumed right from the get-go that was fake, that could not be true. Because I've been through the damn process, and if anyone else has been through the process, if you've got your firearms license,
can you lay it out for us?
Okay, so first of all, you've got to apply, and it's done through. I just did mine. I'll tell you my experience. I did mine online, and it was linked with a local firearms store. So we were in New South Wales. My closest firearms store was down in Lismore. And so you do the test online. It's you've got to study for it.
Like a safety test?
It's like going for your car license, right?
Sure.
They want to know that you've got some basic skills and understanding before you handle this deadly weapon.
This will kill you.
So you do the written test.
It's like the instructions on the back of, do not drink or unsafe for children or don't stab.
Yeah. So the written safety test is naff, whatever. I feel
it's
like
as good as your learner's test.
Yeah.
Sure.
You can do it at home. You can
Google
the
it,
answers, whatever. But then you have to go and do the practical part of that. And so that's when I had to go down to Lismore. It was a few hours work we spent in the back room of this gun store that was set up for this, and he went through everything. Now, me and the mate that I was doing it with, we both had years and years worth of firearms experience. And so me from another country, him from another state. And so he basically probably shortcutted it for us a little bit once he, ascertained our competence level.
Sure.
Yeah. But still, he went through and ticked every box that was on that thing. How do you climb over a fence when you're holding a firearm? How do you, what do certain calibers do? Like, how do you store your weapons? Why is it that you have to store your ammunition separately to your rifles themselves? Every little thing kind of went through. And I guess it was a verbal assessment. Oh, there was a technical assessment there. I don't think we actually fired guns, but we'd loaded them, and he had blank rounds in there, and we kind of went through the whole process. He got us to demonstrate like safe carrying and a bunch of different stuff. So that was pretty full on. I was really happy with that. I'm like, good, this is good. If I was teaching my kids how to use, like if this is the minimum that someone's going to do.
It's what you would do to teach your children.
I'm over the top with our kids. But if this was the minimum, I'd be pretty happy. Then it was a waiting game. I had to wait, I'm going to say months before I got my actual license. Then I had 2 firearms already ready to purchase from a family member.
And the reason that you stated for having a license is because we owned rural land.
Yeah, I had 2 options available to me at the time. Because I worked in agriculture, I could put that down. So you have to declare a valid reason. This is one of the things that came in since Port Arthur. Before that, you didn't have to do that at all. In fact, you could walk into a gun store and just buy a gun.
Yeah, right.
Right? So I think mistakes were made after Port Arthur.
Sure.
But I'm kind of glad that they put some laws in at least. So it took months. I had firearms that I was about to buy off of a family member. They were waiting kind of in limbo.
For you to get your license?
Yeah, he was wanting to give up his license, but he was holding on to these firearms for me. And so I had to get my license. Then you have to get what's called a permit to acquire. And that is a separate piece of paperwork per category. Actually, I think it's per weapon? Per weapon you're going to buy. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I don't know. Fact check me on this. It might be that if you're going to get a Category B, you could get 2 Category Bs on the one PTA.
Sure.
I'm not sure. But I had Category A and a Category B.
Yeah.
I can't exactly remember.
What are the differences for those of us at home who don't understand?
It's calibers, right?
Sure.
So a shotgun's going to be in its own category. A handgun, a pistol's going to be in its own category. A high-powered rifle, so with a large caliber bullet, is in its own category. And then there's a low-powered rifle. So there'll be a split somewhere in there. So I'm pretty sure my 22 is in the low-powered category, and Granddad's old 303 is in the high-powered category. So
it's an heirloom.
Yeah, and then there's crossbows and all sorts of other things. I think it goes up to Category H.
Dude, I want to get all Katniss Everdeen.
Well, bows are actually pretty easy. Crossbows, not so much. So then it took me months to wait for my PTA. Then we had to either go through an armourer, or I was able to actually use that same firearms store in Lismore to do the transfer. He couldn't just send me the guns and I could register them. They had to go through. Yeah. This is one of the things that's likely to be proposed, is a national firearms register.
Just put a pin in that, because I want you to finish your story and I want you to show woe to go how long it took.
Oh, yeah, okay. Just to say, I'm not opposed to that idea because of how long this took.
Right.
Like, it was an added level of complication. So I reckon from the day we sat down and went, we should get our firearms license. And we looked up, Googled, did the online test, to the day I had rifles in my cabinet, in my gun safe, I think it was about 9 months.
Yeah.
It may have been 6 months.
I actually think it was longer.
Yeah, it was at least 9 months. Yeah. Then you're supposed to get a visit from the local constabulary and
to inspect your gun
to inspect your gun safe, to make sure that you've done it right. There's a whole bunch of rules: how to bolt it, how it gets attached to the floor. If it's this weight, you do this. If it's this weight, you do that. How to store the ammunition separately. And it's supposed to be in your residence. Now, I had a shed that was detached from the residence, and I'm like, but that's a much better place, and I feel a bit safer about it being there. More convenient too, with the agricultural work that I was doing. It made sense for it to be near my ute and all that sort of stuff. So I called up the local police station and said, this is the go. Here's where I want to install my safe. He was able to look me up, go, oh, yeah, I can see you recently got your license. Oh, yeah, I can see you. These are the 2 firearms that are on the registry, because he can look up the registry for his state. He can't look up to see anything else out of state. And he goes, I'll tell you what, there's kind of like a routine that you just, like a roster that you get added into. You're probably going to be way down the list. It'd be months before we ever came to see you. Let's just add you to the top of the list now, and then I'll come out and check it for you. He goes, but from what you're telling me, as long as you've got direct line of sight to your shed that you're talking about putting them in, I'm pretty confident that that's going to meet the requirements. I'll come out in the next few days and inspect your safe.
3 years later.
Well, 2 years later, we moved out here, and I had never seen them. So if I was at the top of the list, God help us if I was at the bottom of the list.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I finally got a call from them, the Tweed police station, saying, "Oh, we're ready to inspect your safe now." I'm like, "Well, that's good. I moved 9 months ago." I'm actually in Queensland now. "Oh, well, we'll take you off the firearms registry down here. Are you all set with, you're all licensed in Queensland now?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've done that." That was actually a whole lot easier. Because I was transferring one to another, the laws are basically the same, the rules are the same, the licensing requirements are the same, the storage requirements are the same. So the process was
managed exactly the same as your driver's license. You're saying.
I think it took me about 6 weeks, 8 weeks maybe to get it transferred over.
Okay. But the states don't talk to each other.
And this is one of the proposed changes that I'm not opposed to.
Sure.
Have a national firearms registry by all means, only because it would make the administration side of it a whole lot easier for those of us that move states.
Now, one of the questions that I see a lot of is, why would any person need 6 guns?
Yeah.
Explain that one to me.
Well, the terrorist reason for wanting 6 guns is so you don't have to reload. That's a terrible reason. And when you apply for your license, we might have touched on this, you have to put down your reason, right? What is your reason for wanting a firearm?
Sure.
I was going to put down worked in agriculture, rural occupation, I think is the reason. But I didn't know how long I would be in that occupation or how, if I changed occupations, how it would affect it. Because we own property, the other reason that you can put down is recreational hunting and vermin control.
Okay.
So you've got permission from a rural landowner. You don't have to be the rural landowner. I mean, I was myself, so that made it even easier. I didn't have to get a separate letter from someone with a property to say, I'm going to be doing recreational hunting. I'm occasionally going to help out with vermin control on this particular property. So that's the one I went for. Yep. One of the arguments...
So are there only 3 reasons?
No, there'll be...
Like, do you have to choose one or do you write it down?
You have to choose one.
Okay.
You have to choose one. I feel like there was half a dozen. I'm actually going to Google that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I definitely think there were occupational ones. And there will be...
Here's the thing. I don't want the sensationalizing of this incident, of this horror, to actually cloud the fact and the implications of what a knee-jerk reaction about a policy like that is going to do, right?
Yeah.
It's really easy to get up in arms and be uninformed at the same time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
About anything.
Yep.
We try very hard to have a balanced, objective approach, definitely have our opinions, but we try really hard for those opinions to be based in facts. Things that you can prove,
the
black and white, and what, and how that all works together.
Yeah. So actually, the list is a lot longer than I thought it was. Yeah. Recreational shooting on rural lands. This is Queensland.
Right.
I've looked up here. Sports or target shooting. So I knew that was one because you could be part of a pistol club to get a pistol license, for example. Primary producer, occupational rural employee. That's what I was going to go for. Gun dog retrieval, military reenactment, occupation abattoir, occupation accredited game meat harvester, animal controller, occupation. There's all these, feral animal control, livestock transporter, mobile butcher, prawn or fish farm.
Paintball club?
I think certain paintball...
right.
There might be certain paintball weapons that you have to be licensed for, or in certain states. Weapons club, recreational fishing. Yeah. So,
like a...
spear gun. So depending on how the device operates, it's going to get classed as a firearm. This was the whole thing in Queensland as to whether or not those gel blasters were firearms. Sure. Not because of what damage they can do, but how they operate.
Right.
Like, how does the mechanism of it work, and is it like a firearm? So why were we talking about that? So the question was, why does a person need 6 guns? Yeah. One of the pushbacks is going to be, and I know this from the group, whoever they are, again, linked down below, that are opposed to guns in Australia. One of their arguments has historically been, and will continue to be, we shouldn't have the valid reason of recreational hunting because it's a loophole that just anybody can put down. Sure. You don't have to prove it. I'm not entirely opposed to that idea.
Yeah, like if we're going to tighten the laws, I think this is where we're coming from here. If we're going to tighten the laws, tighten them in the right ways, not the ways that just take more power away from the citizens.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So after Port Arthur, you were, well, not that you ever had to put any of this down anyway, but I keep saying valid reason. The terminology is genuine reason. That you aren't allowed to put down on your application your genuine reason for wanting a firearms license is self-defense. You're not allowed to put that down.
Right.
So, I wonder how that goes. Actually, somebody could probably comment down below when you work in an occupation where it is for self-defense. If you're an armed security guard, the reason you have a pistol on your hip.
If somebody robs my armoured van, I can defend myself.
It's self-defense. So, yeah. I wouldn't be entirely opposed to the idea, only because I thought it was crazy how long it took for me to get this thing, how many hoops I had to jump through, and then how nobody ever came out to check my safe. And now I'm in an entirely different new state under an entirely different new, and they'll be out eventually to check my safe. But I don't mind for myself because I know what I'm doing. I'm happy to show how it's bolted down, how the thing weighs like 500 kilos. You're not picking it up anyway. So, back to your question. Your question was, why does a person need 6 firearms?
Well, we're in particular looking to acquire a new firearm because the ones that we have are going to be insufficient for what we need to do.
Yeah, well, so in our specific scenario, a 22 is good for rabbits and foxes, and sometimes not even foxes. Calibers matter. Like the reason that you have a caliber bullet and a power ability of that bullet is because you don't want to hurt an animal.
Sure.
The entire intention is to
neutralize the animal.
Take it out straight away. Sure. So let's not talk about people in this scenario.
No. Well, that's not why we would have weapons.
No, exactly. And you're not allowed to put that down as your reason. Self-defense is not a valid reason.
I don't like stupid people.
Genuine reason. So calibers matter. You should be using the right caliber for the right kind of vermin control or hunting that you're doing. I follow a lot of channels online. There's a guy that does pigeon and rat control, and he's got a really high-powered air rifle, and that thing is exactly the right weapon for dealing with all of these ferals that are in these farm sheds, and it's a very entertaining video to watch, not going to lie. So I've definitely been out at times. We managed a chicken operation, hundreds of chickens out in the paddocks, and we had multiple fox situations that I had to take care of.
You had two. You had one that was dialed in for when the sun was up and one that was dialed into your night vision.
Night vision, yeah. And so it was helpful to have two firearms so that I didn't have to detach equipment in that case. And yeah, so depending on the equipment that you need for the job that you're trying to get done, right now I've got that 22. We will be butchering our own pigs later on this year, and that is a seriously underpowered rifle for dispatching of that animal in a humane way. I won't do it.
Yeah.
And so Granddad's 303, though, is going to blow its flipping head off. So I'm also not going to use that. So there's another category of weapon that I'm going to need there as well. And then I'm kind of like, one of those air rifles would be good. There are a lot of rats around sometimes. So I can see my way to... Oh, and I don't have a shotgun either. And on a farm, a shotgun is a pretty reasonable, useful piece of equipment.
Well, we've had a pack of wild dogs come onto the property at the residence, like going at our dogs.
Yeah.
All you would need to do is just let off a shot and you've secured your premises against wild animals.
Yep.
Wild pigs, anything like that you just need to tell to rack off.
Yeah. Oh, at close range, if I've got a wild dog situation and I can kind of take charge of that situation with a firearm, I want a shotgun in that situation.
That would be the reason that you would have multiple weapons.
Yeah, so there you go. There's 4 or 5
conducting a mass shooting.
Here on a property, I've got an actual genuine reason for needing those.
Yeah, so if he truly was a hunting enthusiast, it wouldn't be outside of the realm of possibility.
Not at all.
Right.
Not at all.
But I mean, I'm not saying that's the case, but I'm just wanting to poke that, he shouldn't have had 6 weapons, and that's a really easy thing to say when there's no context, right?
My question is, why don't we have a system in place that flags that he had X number of weapons and he lives in such and such a location?
Sure.
This is why I say I'm not opposed to the idea of, like, someone like me, on 150 acres, managing livestock, I feel like, if it's up to the local police station that manages it, and this is the other thing too, is how do we resource who's going to do this work?
I don't understand why the police are the ones that are actually managing all the licensing and everything like that.
Yeah, and so it comes under the police, like the firearms registry.
Like they're not stretched enough as it is already.
Exactly the point. So you would think, all right, out here, if you've got property and you've got multiple firearms, makes sense. You're not going to look twice. But if you've got somebody who's living in the middle of suburbia and they've got multiple weapons, I'm not opposed to the idea of there being some sort of an audit.
Sure.
Hey, every year we want you to just send us your logbook of the hunts you've been on.
Yeah.
What'd you get up to? It's not that hard.
No.
If you if we make truckies keep logbooks,
sure.
And so fine, make everybody do it. Make everybody go. You've got to self audit. We want you to go. What have you been up to this year with your firearms? Me, I'm a farmer. Nothing. They sat in my cabinet. Nothing happened. Didn't have to use them. That should be okay. I'm in the city.
Or I did some target practice to make sure that they were all sighted in properly.
Perfect. I live in the city. If I do that, if I self-report and go, I've got 8 firearms and they all sat in the cabinet this year, we did nothing. I feel like you should be allowed to go, do you really need a license? Like, do you really?
I can see the other side to that, though.
Yeah, but
no, I can see the other side to that.
Let's ask the real question then. What is the purpose of firearms? Because are we saying citizens should be able to arm themselves? That's an entirely different conversation. Do you see what I mean?
Yep, it definitely is.
If we say citizens should be able to arm ourselves, and we don't have a Second Amendment, so we're not allowed to do that.
We don't even have a free speech law.
Exactly. So we're not talking about that because that possibility doesn't exist for us. So if we are talking about our reason in this country for people owning firearms is occupational, hunting, rural land, vermin control, these things, I'm not entirely opposed to the idea of making sure that that's what it actually is. I can see the other side of the argument that is saying it's this big open loophole that everybody just gets to go, oh, I know a guy with property, I'll just say recreational shooting, and never does any actual recreational shooting, just likes to own guns.
So what you're saying is the checks and balances could be more checked and balanced.
I don't think they could. I don't think we have the resources for it.
True.
In all honesty, I think this argument... Do you know what I think is going to happen? They've already done this in WA. They will put restrictions on the number of weapons you can own based on your valid reason.
Sure.
And I will probably end up having to change my genuine reason to be primary producer,
rather than
rural
vermin
occupation.
control, even though it's both.
Yeah, because for me, it's both. That's fine. That's an easy change that I can make because they'll probably say up to, if it's recreational, you're allowed 5, I think is one of the proposed ideas. If it's occupational, you're allowed up to 10. But
Sure.
10's a lot.
That is a lot.
I don't think I'll need more than 5.
Right.
But I also don't want to limit the person who, like a lot of these guys that I follow on YouTube that have multiple weapons for multiple scenarios because they're genuinely doing a job. Each weapon is set up differently with a different set of equipment.
It's like having different tools for different jobs.
Exactly right. And you can't just say to that person, oh, well, you should, all of those modifications, if you want to change what you're doing, you should just take all of those modifications off and put the next set on to make it appropriate. No, it's easier just to own 2.
Next minute, the wild boar's coming at you, it's going to gore you to death.
Whatever the scenario might be.
Wait, let me change my equipment. The other thing that I wanted to flag was the story that we've heard recently, like firsthand, of somebody having their firearms taken off of them because of who they were associated with.
Yeah. And
here's the part of this story that I don't understand.
Yeah. Okay. So I know of the people that were involved in this scenario, and basically what it was a guy got out on parole.
Yep.
A violent offender.
Yep.
We don't want that guy having a gun. Definitely not.
Absolutely not.
Put down his ex-partner's address as his parole address. You have to put down an address. Now, didn't ask her, wasn't with her, been separated from her for however long, got nothing to do with her. She doesn't even know that he's put the address down. Somehow Firearms Registry catch wind of this and decide to check her out. And so go and she's got a firearms license. Let's go and see what's going on here. Oh, yeah, you've got firearms. No, we're taking your license off you and we're taking your weapons off you. That is wrong.
But if this dad who held the licenses for these weapons, dad, and the son is an Australian citizen, the son was known to ASIO but was deemed low risk. I fact-checked that before I came on here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
So if that can happen, we know it can happen. Why didn't that happen?
Why didn't it happen there? Yeah.
Is it because it's under-resourced?
I would say so.
I'm not an advocate for more bureaucracy. Listen to our last episode. I am libertarian in my politics through and through.
Yep.
More freedom, more responsibility.
Smaller government.
Smaller government.
Yeah.
But if this is the way that it's going to be, this is important. You should provide enough resources to actually be able to uphold the law.
Absolutely.
Not just have more rules.
This is the challenge I have, though. So there's a part of the process that's called the fit and proper persons check, and they want to make sure that you are a fit and proper person.
Yeah.
You're not a total psycho. You're unlikely to be wanting to apply for this.
It's like background checks.
Here's the challenge, though, right? If I'm a criminal, I'm not going for a license to get a gun. Oh, that guy did. But the point is, and we've got connections to connections to connections to, kind of the drug world and the bikie world and that sort of thing. I'm not saying I know people, but I know people who know people who know people. There's maybe four degrees of separation there. And the stories that you hear is it's not that hard. If you want a handgun, an unregistered, cops don't know about it, handgun, it's not that hard to get one. Now,
it's not worth it.
You have to be embroiled in that world, so don't get me wrong. I'm not saying...
And clearly we are not embroiled in that world, because why in the world would we say that on a public platform? If we were, but you'd have to be stupid.
This is what's a little bit crazy about this whole thing with this guy. Why did he go... Yeah, maybe he just didn't have the right connections. Why did he go through valid channels to get his firearms license? But yeah, to your point, why did, when ASIO looked into the son, he not get flagged in the same way that this other story that we heard got flagged, an instant check? And if the standard is you get your guns taken off you until we, ascertain whether or not you're a fit and proper person, why didn't that happen here?
Yeah.
It makes you ask a few questions. I don't know. You could speculate, but I don't know.
I see this whole scenario as a total government failure.
Yeah.
Ultimately the responsibility goes to the individual, and I'm not about demonizing groups. I'm like, treat people as individuals, don't treat people as part of the pack. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Don't treat you any differently don't lump you into the same category as every other white male.
Yep.
Middle-aged white male, let's say. Treat people as individuals based on their actions, right? Those two people, full responsibility on them for those actions. However, there is a total government failure here. Failure to regulate weapons licensing. Failure to tone down the radicalization on all fronts, right? You'll allow some protests, but you'll speak out against others, you know? Total government failure, I believe.
And I actually don't think, and this is going to be the hypocrisy of it, is it's not going to be the guns that solve it. This will be where the story goes, because it'll be what this government pushes for, so that they can deflect the spotlight over here while everybody knows that the problem has come from over here.
Absolutely.
And so they'll make it about guns. There's only so many more little screws they can tighten on our already very tight gun laws, and you know who it's going to affect? Law-abiding citizens who go through the incredibly arduous process of getting a license in the first place. I don't think it's going to do anything. But the fact that this guy had a weapons license and had a direct family association to even a low threat level, whatever, I'm also not opposed to the idea of thorough background checks. But it comes down to resourcing. Are we saying, that we're willing to kind of put more money into this to resource this, so that if it took 2 years for them to come out and have a look at my safe, a lot can happen in 2 years. I think we already have the gun laws pretty well dialed in where they should be. Sure. Is there room for improvement? Yeah, even I can agree to that. Even I can agree. If here in this country, self-defense is not a valid reason, is not a genuine reason, then everything else that we're doing kind of maps to that, lines up with that pretty well. I think we're doing a good job on that
high
front.
level, at least make sure they're a citizen.
That
Because
surprised me.
that is a really arduous process as well. Become a citizen, it's expensive.
It is now. I did it in the last year before they really made it hard. And I'm one of the easiest
from New
countries.
Zealand, yeah. Like for a friend of ours, just now, and they've been here, 15 years?
Yeah.
Has only just got their citizenship now. And they said it was the most expensive process. And these, they're from New Zealand.
Yeah.
There's Medicare, I think, based on the agreements, but there's no welfare.
Unemployment, yeah.
There's no unemployment benefits. There's none of that.
Yeah.
So if that's a whole, I'll just leave that one out on the table there. Why is there benefits for some that aren't citizens or permanent residents, but there are benefits for others? What I want is, if there is a rule, it's the rule for everyone.
And the thing is, I looked this up, and I don't know if I got to finish saying this earlier. When it was being reported that he wasn't a citizen, that he wasn't even like a permanent, maybe he is a permanent resident. I don't know how it works with India.
They're trying now to he came in on one visa, and then he partnered up on another visa, and then he keeps leaving the country and coming back on like a spousal something visa. Not a permanent resident.
Not the point I'm trying to make is about the weapons licensing side of things. Is I had to go back because you quizzed me. You're like, didn't you have to prove your citizenship to do?
And you're like, yes.
I'm like, I'm sure I did. I had to put my.
Did you really?
So I went back and checked. I didn't. I had to. Well, I just had to put down my address. I actually am not sure now, going back to that first license I applied for in New South Wales, that I actually had to prove permanent residency or citizenship at all. But when I looked up the rules just today, it was like, you only have to demonstrate a long-term commitment to being a resident. So it's not even an officially recognised status of permanent resident. You can literally just show your rental agreement to go, I'm here for at least 6 months.
Laws, let's at least start there.
Change that one.
That seems pretty easy, because if you're committed enough to go through the process to become a citizen, you've jumped through the hoops, and you've paid the money, and you've done the time.
Yeah.
Well, you'd hope so.
Yeah.
Like, getting a green card in America is bloody hard.
Yeah.
We know somebody that, like an American who's married an Australian, and there's like 5 or 6 years later, they're still not a permanent resident.
Yeah, right.
Or a citizen.
Yeah.
If you've got to jump through all of those hoops, at least let that be the first set of hoops that you have to jump through before you give them a weapon.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but that's the point, isn't it? If you make it this hard for the citizens.
Totally.
Make it for citizens.
But don't go, I'm taking everybody's guns off of them again.
Yeah.
Because we've failed with these little,
I don't
tweak
think
it,
they're going
no problem.
I don't think, and here's where we also need to be careful, is to not arc up and say that that's what the story is going to be made into, because I don't think they're going to take people's guns off them. Yeah, sure. If you own 16, rifles, and you live in a city, Sydney, that maybe something's going to happen to you, But for the majority of properly licensed, gun owners in this country, I don't think whatever they change in regards to this is actually going to have them. Not like it did after Port Arthur. After Port Arthur, those rules changed significantly, and people.
But nothing like that had ever happened here before, really.
No, that one was significant. We'd had mass shootings, anything classed as, I think it's 4 or over or 5 or over in a single incident. But when you look at them historically, it's like 7 people here, 8 people here. And, that's horrific. But it wasn't like Port Arthur was 35 and he was using an AR-15, and I can't remember what the second rifle was when he moved to the next location. Like, that was, yeah.
Look, I don't disagree. What do you need a semi-automatic weapon for?
I can think of a genuine reason when you're hunting.
Sure.
Because
like a herd of pigs.
Once you fire that first shot, that's it. That's all you get.
Sure.
The rest of the herd disband.
Yeah.
If I had a semi-automatic rifle and I came across a herd of feral pigs on my land and I had the ability to take out a large number of them, that would be useful.
Sure.
You know, so as it is, you've got to make ways around that.
So what we're saying is we're not against gun laws, actually. Like, it should be...
No, in the same way that I'm not against, you know, licensing people to drive on the roads. It's a deadly weapon. We should make sure people know how to use it.
Yeah. Having the conversation with our kids the day after it happened, what I've realised is that in the psyche of younger Australians, this is like, for me, it was 9/11.
Yeah, right.
For, like, my mum, it was JFK's assassination.
Right,
There are these really pivotal moments that you go, all is not as I thought. Like, the world is not a safe place that you can lull yourself into that sense of... And our kids were sitting there going, a couple of months ago, one of the, like, JJ especially, like, Charlie Kirk was a real, icon for him. He really respected what he had to say. That rocked him. But then now Alia's like, so are you saying that I need to carry a weapon to be safe now? Like, what is the world that we're going to be walking into now?
Yeah.
It is fundamentally unsafe. And what she's saying is, like, and she's had weapons training, right? She's grown up around firearms. We've taught them all to not be afraid of them. Imagine every other 20-year-old girl now going, you know, what? I go to the beach and what? Do you know, like, what does the world look like now? This has changed our psyche. And maybe if you lived in Melbourne, you would think a little differently. Do you know, right? But like here in Queensland, you've like got to dodge bogans more than you've got to, like, you know, dodge machetes. But as a whole, Australia is becoming an angrier, a more divided, and a more violent nation. Can we talk about why that is happening, rather than how we need to tighten gun control? Can we talk about the reasons why?
Exactly.
You know, like, you go to the doctor and they're like, oh, this is your symptoms, here, have a pill. Here, we'll put a Band-Aid on it and that's fine. But what you want is you want a doctor that gets to the root cause of the problem.
How do you eat?
What is the root cause
What's
of the problem
quality
here?
like?
What is the root cause of the problem here? And it's probably not even immigration. What is the root cause of the problem here?
Well, no, you're right, because immigration just highlights where the problems are. When you allow like this sudden change and sudden, so all right, how does immigration highlight it? When you allow a massive cultural shift and clash to happen, it highlights kind of where people thought, how people thought the world worked, and what was okay, and what we're allowed to talk about, and how we interact, and what other cultures believe, and what we think about what they believe. You didn't have to deal with that en masse. You didn't have to deal with that in as great a number. It didn't impact as many people.
Sure.
You could have an opinion about it, but what do you care? Like, it doesn't actually impact you.
Doesn't affect your day-to-day life.
Now it affects everybody's day-to-day life, because everybody's lining up for the same damn rentals and can't get into them.
Absolutely.
And it's not because this culture's wrong or that culture's wrong, although I'm going to say it, there are some cultures that are incompatible with our way of life.
Absolutely.
We need to be able to say that when they're violent, when they have written texts and ethos and, a mindset that is opposed to or even condemns and condones the killing of other cultures and other beliefs, that's called incompatible. And you should be allowed to say that.
Absolutely.
You should be allowed to say that doesn't work here. We're going to actually give you the opportunity to dismiss that and divorce yourself from those realities and ideologies. But if you won't leave them at the door, well, there's the door. When did it become not okay to say that anymore? To say, this is Australia, this is how we think, this is our history, some of it's good, some of it's not good, but we bloody love this place, and we love our culture and our larrikin nature and our have-a-go attitude and the way that we interact and relate to each other. We're allowed to be freaking proud of that.
Totally.
And that's not being racist.
No.
So it is okay to say that there are certain things that are going to, if you flood that in, it's going to highlight where those lines
and
are.
it's going to put pressure. And I feel like that's where we are as Australians now.
Yeah.
We're in a pressure cooker and the pressure just rose a whole hell of a lot. And I'm not, like, I feel it. Especially after what happened on Sunday. I'm like, what's going to happen now?
Yep.
I can feel that it's something's going to, for want of a better word, explode.
Yep.
And it's going to get more violent because you're not allowed to talk about it.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to talk about how you're feeling. You're not allowed to share the images on, and I don't disagree with that fully, but it's like, don't talk about it. You have to talk about it.
Someone in the UK
you lock it down.
got locked up because they shared locked up. Fact check me on this. I don't know if they got arrested or if they got their social media account banned because they shared the face of the gunman. The thing that was on all the news channels all across the world.
What?
They shared an image of whatever the son's name is. Somebody in the UK shared that image and got themselves in hot water because that was violating either the social media policy and they got in trouble with the social media platform, or it was with local law. They got in trouble. But that's the UK. Look, they're getting in trouble for sneezing online over there. So.
But I'm like, when you look at what's happening in Australia, and it seems to be following a similar playbook, right? As the UK and as Canada. Like, these Commonwealth nations seem to all be following the same playbook. That's not me being tinfoil hat. That's me looking at the facts,
Just observing.
going, what's happening here?
Yeah.
Like,
and why don't we get a say? And who elected these people?
2020, they lock us all down and then tell us we're not allowed to have an opinion about it. They silence us all.
Yeah.
They isolate us all.
Yeah.
Then all of the immigration pressure starts to come on. On top of that, if you're a small business owner in Australia and you're still in business, more power to you, because holy shit, it's a jungle out there. Just to stay, if you made it through COVID and you still, like, that's pressure.
Yeah.
Families can't afford to feed their children, rent or food, electricity or food. Inflation's sky high. Old mates, like, taking $100,000 trips to America. Old mate Chris Bowen with a $65,000 phone bill, just charging it up, tax us more. Like, this is all pressure that has to go somewhere. When you've got an infection, that Seppo pus needs to go somewhere and it will explode and it's not going to be good. So I think we do need to talk about it. It's really important to talk about it. It's really important to not point the finger at people, individuals, and label them, like, just as a whole group. It's really important to take back our responsibility for ourselves and for our country to create the kind of culture that we want. And that's not going to happen with pointing fingers at individuals. It is going to require us to speak, though.
Does it feel like it's impossible, like it can't change, like our systems of media and government are set up in such a way that they're these big unwieldy beasts that can't shift course?
I think it's their fault.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's their fault because what other options do we have? Now, I'm not saying violence is the answer. I'm not at all. I think respectful discourse and true understanding, take your head out of your ass and don't be a dick. Rule number 1, don't be a dick. Like, the world doesn't revolve around you. You exist in it. Like, how can we do this together? I think this is what they want.
They. Feels very they, doesn't it?
The systems of the world that are governing us. It feels like they're trying to make us. Because then they can go, oh, well, you can't govern yourself. You can't handle yourself, so therefore we'll handle you for you.
You can think about this in two different ways. The they thing is, you're a conspiracy theorist. It doesn't have to be men in black suits with dark glasses in dark rooms. Like, it could be that. I'm not ruling it out. It can just be that government loves to exist for the sake of government. That institutions, as you always say, the first and primary purpose of an institution is to keep the institution going.
Maintain their own existence.
And so a lot of the thinking that now, especially when, like we talked about last week, where it's like, what did you say? 1 in 5 people work for the government now, like directly. Or it's some crazy number. Again, I'm probably going to get in trouble for quoting the wrong stats, but needless to say, it's higher now than it ever has been in the past. So when you have a large proportion of the population who now have a vested interest in keeping their job going.
Totally.
And it's just easier to go with the flow of the narrative because, well, that'll keep me employed.
No, but that's not even a productive job. Here's the thing. When you look at government jobs versus when you look at the productivity scales, there's the government jobs and then there's productive jobs.
Yeah.
And when the government jobs are rising faster than the productive jobs, the government jobs are taking from the productive job pool because it's the productive jobs that are making the money to pay the tax.
It's which is crazy. The entire purpose of this group over here is to make life easier for this group over here so that we can be productive.
But we're not incentivized for that, and that's a whole other conversation for a whole other day. It feels like the screws are being put on to make it difficult to act as a free person. And I understand for me to have my freedoms means that you need to have your freedoms. And if we fundamentally disagree with that, does it make it, like, should I say, well, your freedoms need to be taken away? Well, if your freedoms are taken away, then mine are taken away. So I understand if I want freedom, that means for everybody. And that means that people make terrible decisions and what happened on Sunday happens.
I hear what you're saying, but also part of the conversation that's being eroded is the idea that my freedoms might sometimes override your freedoms. And if you're from a culture that celebrates grooming gangs and the sexualization of children, that's not a freedom we're going to afford you.
That's right.
And so sometimes my freedom to celebrate the fact that we have safe communities and we provide safety for our children is going to override your freedom. And if that's a cultural thing, or if that makes me racist because that's how your race is, well, then that's what I am. But I don't think it is what I am.
Well, but you're existing in the space where that's the culture.
Yeah.
That's not the imported culture. That's the that's the culture of the land in which you live. If I didn't like the culture here, I would go to where I fit the culture, right?
Yep.
And I don't think multicultural can exist. I think multinational can exist.
Oh, yeah, good point.
I don't think multicultural can exist.
Yeah, when I came here, now this is an easy one because between Australia and New Zealand, like the reason we have so many kind of agreements between the countries is because culturally it's just really easy. We're basically, brothers. But when I came here, I didn't come here to try and make a mini New Zealand. Now, admittedly, I still support the All Blacks, but that's mostly just because it riles you up and it makes it more entertaining to watch the game. But do you know what I mean? And I don't know what that would look like if my culture was vastly different, which it wasn't, But
your parents came here for a reason.
That's my point exactly. And so when you come from other places, you can bring some of the things that make your culture interesting and unique. Like I love to go to places in the city where there are cultural food experiences. I'm not saying we have to say, oh, that's it. It's meat pies from now on.
Please no. Japanese food's my favorite.
Yeah, right. Food's an easy example to make of that. But at the same time, if you have an ideology or a belief about, like core beliefs about humanity and how we treat one another, if it's out of alignment, you, the person coming into the country, the onus is on you to go, am I willing to subjugate myself to this new set of beliefs, or is it just a line that I won't cross? And if it's a line you won't cross, there's the door.
Don't cross it.
It should be okay to say that.
But don't do it. Don't come here.
That's exactly right.
I wonder, and here's just a thought that I've had. When my mum immigrated from the UK, when your parents moved here, it cost them.
Yeah.
It cost them to move here.
Yep.
And it was a decision to move here because they wanted a different kind of life.
Yep.
They wanted an Australian way of life. My mum met my dad in Scotland and moved here because she chose to move here and she chose to make this country her home and to have this as a way of life. They're quite aligned cultures, right? They're Western. They're Western, right? Well, they were. But it costs.
Yeah.
It costs to emigrate. It costs
Financially, family ties, emotionally.
Like, no, it literally, like, there's a cost involved. When it's easy
Yeah.
and there's no cost involved.
Yeah, well, that burden gets taken off you. Yeah. People don't respect what they don't pay for. That's a good point.
I feel like I just had a light bulb moment.
Yeah, when we take all of that. And look, that is a different scenario again to refugee status. And I know we didn't want to make the conversation about this, and we should probably wrap up soon. But there will be valid refugee scenarios. And if we're in a position as a country to offer asylum and to help people who have genuine needs, it's when you expand all of those scopes because of a political advantage, and that's what this is. There are politics deeply at play here behind all of this immigration garbage, and it's no longer... So to the people that argue, oh, but what about asylum seekers and what about refugees? You're not wrong. It's just that's not why they're really doing it.
No.
They use those things now as tools to prop up their own agendas.
And like you said, there's politics at play everywhere here, and that deeply grieves me because that is what has caused what happened in Bondi. Yeah. The politics is what has caused what happened in Bondi. Evil.
That's a horrible thought, isn't it?
Agendas and selfish agendas and the government not doing what we put them in place to do, which is make the country better and protect our borders.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
make Australia about Australia. Just do that. You know, govern Australia.
I never thought
in the Australian way.
20 years ago, Kirsty would call me a redneck right now. And I'm just, it's so, like, my politics have completely shifted. If you want to live in Australia like an Australian.
It's not that hard.
I also, if you want to experience culture, travel. Go and experience culture.
Yep.
Nobody's stopping you.
Yep.
I love that. I love going to Asia. I love, like, Bali is freaking amazing, right?
People that do the right thing, come for the right reasons, you know, integrate in the right ways. Some of my best friends growing up were from overseas. One of my best friends was Vietnamese in high school. Like, I have no problems with other cultures, people from other places. And, you know, like I've said,
it stops you from living in your own little bubble.
But that's not what we're talking about.
No.
And I guess maybe we could finish with this idea is, let's have the right conversations, because what's going to happen over the next few days and weeks and months are all the wrong conversations. Yeah. A magician, their best tool in their belt is misdirection. The way that they can pull off some of the best tricks they pull off is misdirection. Look over here while I do this over here. Look back over here. Oh, aren't you amazed? That's how a magician works, and politicians have become some of the best magicians. And what it's causing in this country now is all the wrong conversations, because you know what we're talking about? Not what's happening over here, but the misdirection that's happening over here. And I think if I could encourage you guys who are listening, is whether it's in the comment section of this video or online or in social media spaces or wherever you're doing it, have the right conversation. Don't be distracted by what the media are doing. Don't be distracted by what politicians are doing. Listen to them, because you need to say something. You either agree with them or disagree with them, but don't get distracted by the misdirection.
And for heaven's sake, don't just share stuff on social media that you haven't fact-checked.
It's actually not that hard to fact-check these days. There's no excuse for it.
You cannot believe every short video that you see. You have to actually take responsibility to find out information for yourself. Yeah,
well, even our kids today came out and they're like, did you hear they've banned Roblox chat? And went, oh, that'd be good, actually, if they did.
It would be good.
And it turned out it wasn't true. It was just a TikTok. So, yeah, fact-check.
Quote your sources.
Yeah, we always use that. That was one thing about homeschooling our kids, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We were like, no, quote your sources.
Quote your sources. I say that to you even now sometimes when you get on a Regan rant. That was really heavy.
What are we going to talk about next week? Something a bit lighter?
Well, next week is Christmas.
Oh, good.
So, Merry Christmas. We'll have had a birthday.
Oh, does that
family
mean there's not an
altogether.
episode next
We're
week?
not going to release a Thursday episode next week because
Yeah, you
it's
should spend time with your
Christmas.
family or friends
Yeah.
or, whatever.
We will be. And then the week after that will be New Year's Day, but we have an interview.
Oh, fun. Okay.
We have a special guests
Yeah, right. Yeah.
that we will be talking all things homesteading, YouTube.
Oh, cool.
And then after that, while the kids are all here, we'd really like to sit down with our kids and pick their brains about some things.
So, to those of you who know us and know a bit about our story and our kids, and we've shared some of that on this podcast and on our channel, and that we homeschooled them for the better part of their teenage years.
Definitely for all of their high school.
We raised them in a rural setting.
Yep.
If we did a podcast with our kids, what would you want to know?
The gun control thing's definitely going to come up there.
That's all right.
All of our kids have differing opinions.
Ooh, feisty.
Yes.
That could be fun.
I think they've got things and perspectives that would be helpful. What's it like to grow up rural?
Yeah.
What's it like to be homeschooled? What's it like to be a young person on social media? What's it like why, like Alia, she moved out and she decided that the rural life was for her.
No, she left the rural life and then a few months later was like, nah,
I'm coming with you.
Yeah.
Noah still lives in the city, but comes here for his solace and peace.
Yeah.
There's lots of perspectives that I think would be helpful, particularly there's a lot of parents who continue to ask us,
how do you do this with kids?
How do you do this with kids? Maybe our adult children's perspectives will help you.
Yeah, that could be good. All right. So Merry Christmas, everybody, and enjoy your time off work. Hopefully you get some time off work. If you're working in retail, feel for you.
Sorry.
And we'll see you on, does that mean New Year's Day?
New Year's Day with the very wonderful Hayes Homestead.
See you guys.